Um, so I was so happy to get to Jerusalem. When we get to Jerusalem, my father looked at me and he said, and because I was one of the littles, so I was near to him all the time, he said, uh, 2,500 years we promised, every family, every father promised to his sons that one day we will go to Jerusalem. And I'm the luckiest person in the world because I keep my promise.
Hey everybody, welcome to Starstruck, brought to you by Aish. This is a Jewish-themed podcast where I get to interview celebrities, digital influencers, philanthropists, and other highly accomplished individuals. I'm your host, Sarah Pachter, and I'm thrilled that you're here. Whether you're a first-time listener or a returning listener, we just want to thank you for joining us. And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Of course, we also want to hear from you. So if you have any thoughts or comments, leave them in the comment section below. On today's episode, we have Shai Fredo joining the show. Shai Fredo is an Ethiopian Israeli actor who was airlifted out of Sudan and into Israel by the Mossad, which is Israel's secret service. I cannot wait to hear more about his riveting story. Shai, thank you so much for joining us. Such an honor to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're so honored to have you. Thank you. So I think let's just jump right into it. I'd like to ask, first of all, a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
I'm from Israel. I live in Israel with my family. I have two children. I live in Moshav Bakoa, but originally I born in Ethiopia, in a little village called Matcha. It's a Jewish village north of Ethiopia. And
Okay. And, I read a little bit about you and how there was a really strong longing for your family to come to Israel, for your entire family. Why do you think there was such a longing for your family to come to Israel?
I mean, I will give you a short background about me and my family. I am ninth generation of the big priest of Ethiopian community. Um, all our lives, we dream to get to Jerusalem. I mean, before I said my name, I said Jerusalem is Jerusalem. So for us, when the Sudan border was open after thousands of years that we praying to get to Jerusalem, we had to take that chance and just to left everything behind us and just walk 800 kilometers till Sudan.
Wow. How long did that journey take? Can you tell us a little bit about that journey? That's something I'm sure everybody wants to hear about.
Ah, beautiful question. And all the time when I talk about it, I just want to cry
Wow.
because I was 7.5 years old when I heard first time that we going to Jerusalem. My little sister was 2 months um, old, and my grandfather was 97 years old. And I have more brothers and sisters. And I knew that we going to Jerusalem only 2 hours before because my parents they didn't want me to tell on the school to Christian friends that we
Right.
go to Jerusalem because it was dangerous. And I remember that my dear dog, my best friend Bula, he stayed behind because it was dangerous to take him with us. And I cry, he cry, and I yell. I promise when we got home to Jerusalem, I will back to take you.
Oh,
And yeah, and then we start walking in the jungle only during the night. After a week, the first group of robbers come and take us, and they took our money, jewelry, food. After a few days, another group of robbers come, and the first group they took all the money and the jewelry already. So the second group they took the horses, the donkeys, the
Oh my
food,
gosh.
and they tell to their friends waiting for us like another few days. And then if they don't have anything to take from you, they took children or women. So I remember that everybody cried, and I hugged I remember I hugged my mother and I told her, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, let's go back. Jerusalem will wait for us." And she just cried and she hugged me and she said, "Everything is gonna be all right." And then someone that live in the jungle with his family come from nowhere, and he said, "This is my area. This is my place, my land. Leave them alone. If not, it's better kill me and my family because I'm not going to let you to hurt them." And they yelled at him and back and forth, and then they leave us alone, and he give us food and enough water till we get finally to refugee camps in Sudan. Okay, 800 kilometers, 7.5 years old. My little sister, 2 months. My grandfather, he was on the horse, 97 years old. We thought, okay, finally we get to Sudan. A day or two we will be in Jerusalem. But no, we were in Sudan another year. We were 12,000 Jewish between more than 1 million refugees from Ethiopia to Sudan. A lot of refugees, Islam refugees, Christian refugees. And we were 12,000 Jewish. And during that year, 4,000 Jews died. I lost my grandfather. I lost my best friends. And everybody called us that we were the luckiest family because we didn't lost like half of our family. And then the Mossad came in the end and they took us from Sudan to Israel. And it was like a miracle.
Wow. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about that. How did that transpire? What were some of the details with that rescue mission?
I mean, you can find our Operation Moses was in at 84, but before 84, you can find a few hundred Ethiopians already in Israel. So what the Mossad did is Sudan for sure is black people like me, and it was dangerous for them, the Mossad people, to get in and try to save us. So what they did is they choose a few leaders from Ethiopian community, soldiers like Fareda Aklum and others, and they send them back to refugee camps to try to find out who is the Jewish family. So how they did know, because all of us speak Amharic, is Ethiopian language,
Right.
and what they did is they ask us questions that only the Jewish can answer it. Like the Christian people or the Muslim in Ethiopia, for Shabbat they call Kedame, and the Jewish people said Senbet. So
Oh,
they said like, let's meet day after tomorrow. What day it is? So if you was a Jewish family, said, Senbet, okay, let's. And they knew, and they told to all the adult people that they're going to take them to Jerusalem. And at the same day of the operation, we didn't know that our neighbors in the that live in the near to us with his tents and with his children, they are a Jewish too, like almost a
wow.
year. Yes,
So
because
you went not even knowing who was Jewish in your area. You also didn't know.
no, because it was dangerous. Sudan, she is one of that country was one of the dangerous country in the world. You know, they don't like the idea of Zionism and Jewish. Then, so it was really dangerous. And our parents told us, don't say anything, stay in the tent inside and don't play with other kids. Everybody afraid to say something about that. But finally, in that operation day, you can see that all the Jewish family running from their tent to the desert, because at the at that time exactly, four buses come to took all the Jews in that area to an airplane that come to the desert in Sudan. So it was beautiful
Wow.
and unique story. Some companies did movies about Ethiopian Jewish journey or operations, and like the last movie was Red Sea. It wasn't true exactly. I mean, they didn't come to our villages and took us from there. No, it's like I feel, and all the Ethiopian Jews feel like someone stealing our Zionism. We just left when we heard that the Sudan border is open. We left everything behind. My dog, my our land, after thousands of years we were rich and we had everything. We left everything behind and start walking because we had that chance, like 0.1% to get to Jerusalem. And then we were stuck in Sudan, and then our brothers the Mossad come and help us from there. And my dream is, I wrote script about our journey, but the real story from Ethiopian community side, and to finish it one day, and to show to all the Jews or the other people that want to hear this beautiful journey, the real story.
Well, that would be very interesting. And to depict it in a real way would be very valuable because I think you're right. Sometimes things are not really depicted exactly as they were. But I do want to ask you a couple of follow up questions on, first of all, your walk to Sudan. So you were about 12,000 people, you said, walking?
Uh, in the end, we were 12,000 people in Sudan, but in my village, we were only 400 people.
I
So
see.
it was a Jewish village
I
that at
see.
once everybody lived that village. I mean, it wasn't little village; it's a huge village because every family there had their lands, and we walk uh, 800 kilometers together, and some of the families go lost in the way. Um, and and when we get to Sudan, to refugee camp, we didn't know what happened to the first group that they took a bus from the border because they went to different place. Like what I said, we were 1 million point five refugees from Ethiopia and only 12,000 Jewish,
Wow.
and people start dying there. I mean, they give us, they took our sand and they replaced it. They put uh, I don't know, they replace it with something else, and
Mhm.
everybody eat that sand and become ill. Um, I'm just trying to remember our my best friends that play with me in Ethiopia, and we talk about that day that we will be in Jerusalem, near to the holy Bet Hamikdash. We call it holy synagogue, and play together. And they just disappear in that desert in 1 year, and
Wow.
not all, not everyone know about that. I mean,
Mhm.
we want to tell our story. We want to tell Jerusalem and that Zionism was so strong in Ethiopian community in Israel that we didn't think twice. Sarah, I want to tell you one story.
Sure.
10 years ago, I asked my father, Father, you know, we walk in the jungle. You can find robbers every day and animals, and everything was so dangerous, and people go lost on the way. And but when Shabbat came, everybody stopped. I told him we lost more than a week. If we were going in those days, we will come, get to Sudan faster. Many we can, many lives we can save. And he laughed and he said, "Oh, my son, you don't understand. Because those Shabbat, finally we get to Jerusalem."
Right. He felt like Shabbat was protecting you. Shabbat is the Saturday or the Jewish holiday of Sabbath for the Jewish people. And he felt like that was protecting you essentially and enabling you to get to Sudan. But I am curious, practically speaking, how did you survive in the jungle with the animals, with the robbers? What happened with your family specifically that you were able to guard all of that off?
Uh, After the first week, I really believed that we're going to die. I mean, I lived in heaven. It was a beautiful village with everything. We had everything, but no electricity. It's north in Ethiopia, and everything is green. It's like heaven. But Jerusalem was the real heaven for us. So after a week after we start going to Jerusalem, and I saw what is really hell. I saw those people that they saw us like I don't know. It doesn't matter. They can take children, women. They can kill us, and I was in shock. And after the the third time that those robbers took our food and donkeys and everything, and we was without water, without food, without nothing, I said, okay, hell and dead look like this. I mean, I was only a child, but and then when I saw that man coming from the jungle to help us, I said, okay, now I know how angels look like.
Wow.
So, I mean, my life, sometimes I wake up in Israel and I said, I had wonderful dream. I need to do a movie about that. And I said, this is my real life. I mean,
Right. Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so then you arrive in Sudan and you're about 12,000 people. What happens next? How did you know it was time for the actual escape? What was the cue?
From Sudan,
Yeah.
they told the Mossad people told to all the others, like my father, wait for us to sign. That sign will be till today. My father, he doesn't want to tell us. I mean, everything was secret. Like what
Right.
I knew about that we're going to Jerusalem 2 hours before. Till today, he feel it's dangerous to talk about it. But they went to that sign, and they told us at that day just stay very close to get together. Sometimes because my big brother, he went to bring water, to buy water from far and stuff. But that day he said we need to stay together, stay at home, nobody going to anywhere. And then at that moment we just start running
Wow.
to the desert, and everybody to try to get to those buses. It was so we didn't get those buses at the first time, and we had back to our tent. When we back to our tent, the our neighbors, they took, I mean, the not the Jewish one, our neighbors, they thought we left already, and they took all our stuff.
Oh,
So
wow.
we back to empty tent, and we wait for another time. Only the third time we had the lucky to get into those buses, and we were so afraid because those neighbors, they already knew that we are Jewish.
Right.
But we had the lucky, and then when we get to those buses drove like a few hours in the desert, and once soldiers stop the bus, and the Mossad people go out and they give him a lot of money, a lot of American dollars, and they let us go. And then finally, I saw huge, a huge airplane, and I told to my father, "Daddy, Daddy, I left my shoes on the bus." He said, "Don't worry about the bus. We have them in Jerusalem." And then when I get to that plane, a huge plane, I didn't realize what's going to happen in another few hours. It was close to that in Israel, it's like 1 hour, maybe less. What I did is, Sarah, I pushed the chair from that front of me to help to the pilot to get faster to Jerusalem.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute.
Till I was tired and slept, and I just opened my eyes and I saw all the lights of Jerusalem, like the song Jerusalem of Gold. Um, so I was so happy to get to Jerusalem. When we get to Jerusalem, my father looked at me and he said, and because I was one of the littles, so I was near to him all the time, he said, uh, 2,500 years we promised, every family, every father promised to his sons that one day we will go to Jerusalem. And I am the luckiest person in the world because I keep my promise. And I was already grow up. I felt that I was already like 20, 30 years old.
Well, you had been through so much. It creates such a maturity in you. But I want to go back to the fact that your dad still doesn't talk about what that sign was. At what point were you allowed to talk about what had happened with the Mossad? Because I'm sure it was a secret for a little bit of time.
After I finished my army service, I just studied at the beginning in yeshiva in north of Israel, and then I studied in Mikveh Israel, is board school. And when I finished, I just went to army after my service, 3 years service in the Israeli army. I start to talk about that and ask everybody, my father, my uncles, about that because I studied theater. So the first play that I wrote and I play in the Israeli theater, it is about my grandfather. He was 97 years old. He teach all that village about Jerusalem, and just 2 weeks before we get to Jerusalem, he stay behind.
Oh,
So in my play, he get to Jerusalem.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I was going to ask about your grandfather because there was such a wide age range in your family. You had your 2-month-old sister. Was it 2 months old?
2 months.
She was 2 months old. And then you have the 97-year-old grandfather. I just don't know how your parents did that. And I'm curious to know, how did they feed the baby and how did they deal with the extra stress of having a young child?
On the way, you mean?
Both on the way in Sudan, everything.
Um, it was. like what I said, it was like a miracle. I mean, when I try to write something today, script, movie, or theater, the reality was more crazy, and I don't know what we eat on the way. I mean, we eat little things. My father and my mother, I didn't saw them eating something those time, and and when we get to Israel and we saw all the food and all the things there in Israel, we were so thrilled and happy, and that's the reason that I said to myself, I want to be an actor. My mother wants me to be a priest, like her father.
Right. And so that's what inspired you to become an actor. I was going to ask that anyways. So that's great. I see you have your child here. That's so nice. You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about your
he was
father
sleepy,
promising
and
you,
now
and now
he wake up. And I'm sorry about that.
no, don't apologize. It's great. It's great. This is the continuation of your father's promise. So that's fantastic.
Yes,
And okay, so let's kind of move into Israel. So you were brought into Israel from the Mossad. You arrive in Israel. You talked about how you became inspired to become an actor, but how did that actually transpire? Like after the army, I guess you became an actor?
after I finished my army, I studied 3 years in Jerusalem, and then I became an actor in Israel, and I were in different theaters organization in Israel, and then I decided that I did in Shakespeare, Tennessee Williams, and all those classics. But in the audience, I didn't see any Ethiopians, more than 10 years. And I asked them why you're not coming, and they said, "Yeah, we saw it once, twice. It's the same story, but nobody said anything about Ethiopian Jewish, Ethiopian journey." So then I decided to write my one-man show called The Land of Judah about the Ethiopian Jewish journey from Ethiopia to Israel through my eyes.
Mhm.
And then I established the first Ethiopian theater in Israel, in Jerusalem. It took
That's
me
quite
almost 10 years. Yeah, it was hard work to establish it, but that's work. And 11 years ago, I established the first Ethiopian huge festival in the National Theater of Israel to give opportunity to all those artists, beautiful artists, not only in theater and film, music, art, fashion, everything. During that week, every thousands of people coming to Tel Aviv to
wow.
share their art with all the Israeli audience. And then my mother come to me. Uh, I think 7 years ago, from no more than 7 years ago, in the time of Shimon Peres, they asked me to do something in the president house for Ethiopian community, and I invited all the Ethiopian Jewish chief and others and philosophers and doctors and stuff. Only then my mother she called me and she said, "You know what? Maybe you don't need to be a doctor or lawyer. That's okay. You can be an actor."
At that point, she accepted it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the shows that you have directed.
I directed a show called Yachasim or Kaasim. It's about relationship between Ethiopian couples, Ethiopian Jewish couples in Israel. I mean, we are little, and we have 7 generation. We need that. We need to be not related 7 generation back. You can marry with someone like if you related like 4 generation. And other Jewish, they can do it with 3 generation too. So it's a comedy about Ethiopian Jewish couple. The second was um, uh, is about Israeli friends that live in Tel Aviv and try to be famous and to success. Half of them they are Israelis, half of them they are Ethiopians. I all the time try to open the door not only for Ethiopian. When I established the first Ethiopian theater, the door was open for non-Ethiopians too, like
Right.
30% in my festival too. So I had a call. Someone called me almost a year ago, and they said, you are an actor and writer and stuff, but you did something unique with when you established that theater and that festival. So we want you to teach in Clark Atlanta University drama and theater. But if that's okay, try to find a way to build bridge between the Jewish community and Clark Atlanta, because it's a Afro-American college university, and 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 I'm the first Israeli that teach there. That university exists more than 150 years, and I was so lucky, and I said yes, I will do it. I will be happy to do it.
That's
And then
incredible.
yes,
And is that located in Atlanta?
is located in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I
So
took
you're
my,
there now, correct?
excuse me.
So you are there, you're in Atlanta now, right? Doing that. Okay,
Yes,
that's great.
I just finished my semester. I came with my two children, little children, and my wife. My wife actually she's the Israeli TV reporter. And when I called her and I said, "You remember when I told you about my first time when I established that theater?" She said, "Yes." "And you remember when I established the Ethiopian Festival in the National Theater?" She said, "Yes, it's a huge thing because all the famous Ethiopian artists they show their art there and they become to be famous for sure." And I told her, "You know what? I have another assignment to do." They called me to come to Clark Atlanta University to teach theater and drama and to do what I can do there. And she was so happy. She said,
Wow.
"Shai, first, if I will say no, you never forgive me. But
Right.
it's so important. I will come." And we came for a semester. I finished only last week the
Oh,
semester. And then what I did is, because I have already tools to do festivals, I decided to to establish the first Ethiopian festival in Clark Atlanta University. That festival is not only Ethiopian, is a Jewish, is Israeli, is Afro-American and American. So
that's fantastic.
I
That's
did two
bringing
days
together so many
festival.
people.
Yes, 2 days festival called Anbessa Festival. Anbessa means lion. And they want to do it next year, every year.
Wow.
I was so happy to be here. Another 2 weeks, we're going back to Israel.
Wow. Well, I'm from Atlanta, so I was born and raised in Atlanta, so I know the area well. Where did the festival take place?
In
Within
Clark
Atlanta?
Atlanta.
No, but within Atlanta, which area?
What area? Clark
Mhm.
Atlanta University is all the area like Morehouse and Spelman and Clark Atlanta. They're in the same area in Atlanta. I don't know how to. I'm just for 6 months here in Atlanta, so I don't know every area. I know that
Right.
I live in Sunday Springs, and I
Okay.
drove 40 minutes to to
Okay.
Clark Atlanta.
Okay, I know Sandy Springs. That's great. Okay, so tell us about the movie Exodus. What is the title called? Exodus 91?
Yes,
Okay, tell
Exodus
us about
90.
that.
I will be happy to do it. Uh, I had another call with the director of the movie, Micha, called me and he said that he wanted me to audition to something very important. I read the script, and this script was really wonderful. It's about Operation Solomon, that the Israeli government saved 15,000 Jewish from Ethiopia. There was really war between, in Ethiopia. And I read the script and I read my lines, and it was wonderful. And I said, yes, I want to do this audition. I play Casa Kabede role in that movie. And this movie is running all over America in the festival, the Jewish festival all over. Sometimes when I have time, when I'm not teaching during this time here, I travel with this movie and talk a little bit about that. I had a beautiful closure, Sarah, with this movie, because I told you already about our journey. What I didn't tell you is, Sarah,
Yeah.
is that one of my big sisters with her 5 children stay behind
Oh,
when we came through Sudan. And when we get to Israel, of course, we were happy. But 7 years, my mother, almost every night, she cried because she didn't know where her daughter is. And we pray that one day she will come to us. Then Operation Solomon happened.
understood.
Exodus
Okay.
91, the movie Exodus 91 is about Operation Solomon.
Right.
So for me, it was a huge closure.
Wow.
Yes.
That's so fantastic. It was very personal for you. It was not just something random. So that's great.
Yes,
And
yes, and it's success. He won a few rewards. This movie is very unique movie, and the director he wants that everybody will see this movie, and he wants me to travel with this movie and to tell my story, my journey, and my part in that movie too. So I will be happy to do it.
that's great. That's fantastic. So I do want to ask you, I know that you just told us a really inspirational story, but I want to hear, do you have like your number one top most inspirational aspect about the entire journey, the entire experience? Do you have any one particular story that stands out that you'd like to share?
When I finish my first study in Jerusalem after 3 years, I told you that I established the first Ethiopian theater. But after I established it, what I did is I tried to get audition in different theaters and movies. And it was really difficult. Sometimes my Ashkenazi friend, they said, you know, it's not because we don't like you or something, because you are my best friend, but when we write our script, we think about our families, our friends, our neighbors. That's why. And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, I don't know. And then what I did is I went to study again in the best studio in Israel, another 3 years. I left everything. I mean, I established that theater. I brought someone to be the manager of that theater. I had a part in some a huge things. I told them to take another one, and I just start from the beginning. 3 years, 12 hours a day, work so hard in Tel Aviv. I left Jerusalem to Tel Aviv, and I said, I'm sure that two things is gonna happen when I finish Nissan Native Studio. First, my people, the Israeli, will grow up and they will start writing for us, roles too. And second, then I will graduate the best studio in Israel. Then I will do anything and everything I want. Um, and that's the craziest thing that I did. When I get there to the to auditions, to exams, there were 1,260 students that tried to get in. After 6 months exam, only 15 can get in. and all the students there, they saw me. I was already famous, and I did a few films and stuff and theater, and they thought that I'm coming to teach them. They said, "What grade you going to teach?" And I said, "No, I'm come here to start everything." So I'm not. Till today, I believe that everybody in his place, in his area, can change for other people. And for me, I'm not afraid to work hard, and I want to change my area, my people with love and hard working. But we all of us need to understand that we can change a little bit from in our hearts, and it will be influence for hundreds or other thousands people.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. And I think I wanted to wrap this up. We're running out of time, even though I wish I could speak with you the whole day because it's so, so fascinating. We're going to wrap up. And I did want to ask you, I know that you speak for a lot of organizations. I know you speak for a lot of schools. You actually spoke for my son's school. What would you say is your most powerful message that you want to share with the world?
It's very hard to build. It's very easy to destroy. Very easy to hit. It's very hard to love. But when you build or loving someone, you be alive. You be a human being. When you destroyed or hurting others, you just not human being. I mean, so do your best to build and love. That's it.
Wow, that's incredible. So you feel like the essence of being a human is to build and to love rather than to destroy and to hate. I think that's so, so incredibly put. And thank you so much. Well, Shai, thank you so much for your time today. We're extremely grateful to you. We really appreciate it. And I do want to know if someone wanted to look you up online or find you somewhere, where can they find more about you?
In Facebook, actually, my name
Okay.
is Shai Fredo. They can find article about me and stuff. I have an agent in Israel, and I have agent only a few months ago here too in Orlando. But the best way to reach me, it will be in Facebook, Shai Fredo. That's it. I will be happy to answer every question that they have.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Shai. And also, if you want to learn more about Shai Fredo, check out the article I wrote about him on aish.com, which is linked in the episode description. You can find this podcast on your favorite podcasting platform and on aish.com's YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to aish.com for more content like this. And if you like what you're seeing and you like what you're hearing, don't be shy. We want to hear from you. So leave a comment below. Thanks again, and I will see you next week.